Hey guys, Tony here. Just wanted to add a little message here at the top of the show. So thank you so much for all the incredible support throughout 2022. Really do appreciate it. Thank you for all the listens and the downloads and the subscribes and the Patreon support. Of course, thank you for that. We'll be back in January of 2023 with another episode of Ichimon Japan, and Japan Station will be back on January 1st of 2023 with another episode. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. We'll be back in the new year. Until then, thank you so much and enjoy the episode. It's like 24th or 25th. It's like, take your pick. Where?
What are you talking about? The romantic dinner is you go to KFC, you get your chicken, you go home.
Welcome to Ichimon Japan. I'm Tony.
And I'm Ryan.
And, Ichimon means one question. Every episode we ask a question about Japan. And today's question is, what is Christmas like in Japan? Do, 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 do. So, we've been doing this show for maybe like 3 years now or something. I don't know. It's been a while.
We started before Corona, so at least 3 years.
Yeah, so we've stayed away from Christmas, but we finally thought, like, you know what, let's just talk about it, because you got to talk about it. It's one of those things that a lot of the non-Japanese people always get a kick out of. Is like, oh, Japanese Christmas is so funny or so different. So let's talk about it. So Ryan, do you want to start somewhere? I looked into a little bit of the history and stuff, but I figured I can talk about that after we just have a little general discussion.
Okay, like general summary of it?
Yeah. So like what I don't know, do you have any impressions, or do you have like if let's just say like I'm a person that does not know anything about Japan, and I were to ask you like, so what's Christmas in Japan like, Ryan? Is it the same? Like
I can say if you came as a tourist and like just went to touristy places and shopping malls and hotels or whatever, you would think Christmas is 100% the same as in America.
That's a good way to put it. Like when you look at it from the outside, it kind of looks like it could be the same. Yeah.
Because like all of those public like places that people gather are usually decorated in some way. Honestly, I think even earlier than America does.
That could be. Yeah. Well, it depends on the place, I guess. But yeah.
Well, I guess because I always hear people complaining when people start putting up Christmas decorations after Halloween, saying it's supposed to be like after Thanksgiving. But as Japan doesn't have Thanksgiving, it's very common for them to start appearing like early November.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And yeah, you'll see the typical like Christmas trees, snowmen, Santa Claus imagery around like even like gigantic oversized presents or whatever at like shopping malls or whatever. And there'll of course be Christmas sales.
Yeah.
And I think the Christmas music they play in shops is also almost exactly the same as in the West.
Yeah. There's a couple Japanese like classic Christmas songs, but for the most part, it is the same catalog. Yeah.
But the superficial surface is kind of where the similarities end, because what people actually do is completely different.
Yeah. So let's see. I guess, what, let's just get it out of the way. We'll start with the chicken.
Yeah. So I'm guessing through a really good PR move by KFC, Christmas is strongly associated with having fried chicken, specifically fried chicken from KFC.
Yeah, that is the number one. Yeah, that's the classic item for the Christmas dinner menu.
And I've tried to explain to like my students here that in America, if your Christmas was like I went to KFC and I ate fast food, everyone would think you had a really sad Christmas.
Yeah, it's like such a lonely.
In Japan, that's the ideal Christmas.
It's marketing, baby.
See, it's not only KFC, but any place that has fried chicken will start advertising their like Christmas fried chicken about a month ahead of time.
Yeah.
KFC does it even earlier, and honestly, they sell out probably like a good month ahead of time.
Yeah. It's a big deal. There's, of course, the TV commercials, but the signage everywhere. Yeah, and people get their reservations in early.
Yeah, I have done the KFC Christmas. So you can get it Christmas or Christmas Eve, because for whatever reason, a large number of people seem to not know what day Christmas is. Like,
Okay, so thank you for bringing that up because I want when I did a little bit of research, before this episode, and I wanted to see like when because Christmas dinner, when you say Christmas dinner in like to us, it would be on Christmas Day, right?
yeah,
Um, well, in Hispanic cultures, kind of the big dinner is on Christmas Eve. You stay up all night, and at midnight you have a big dinner. Like that's how people do it in like Peru, and I'm sure some other South American countries. But
my
in
family
in
kind of did
the
both.
what?
My family kind of did both.
Oh, okay. So
Christmas Eve would be visiting in-laws and a big dinner, and the Christmas Day would
gotcha.
just be immediate family and a big dinner.
Right. But in Japan, like I actually specific, I lived there, and even after living there for a time, I was like, so which is like the big day, which is like the big one, and so even like yesterday, actually, I did a little research, and basically it seemed like I found one website that was talking about restaurants. It's like, oh, this year 2022, it's going to be on a weekend, so both Saturday and Sunday or something like that, or like both good days. So it's basically like the conclusion that I came to is like, yeah, either one is fine, like 24 or 25.
Yeah, because I always would ask my students like, "What day is Christmas?" thinking it was a freebie question for like in a lesson to like start it off.
Uh-huh.
And I think most do know it's 25, but probably like 10-20% will answer the 24th.
Yeah.
I've asked around and got many different answers from people. The most reliable one I think I got was that 24th is like the couple's day,
Uh-huh.
and 25th is either you do nothing or you do something with your family if your family actually does something.
Okay. Yeah, I get that. I would believe that. I don't know if it statistically actually plays out that way, but it seems
It
okay.
seems like there's a lot of variety based on who you act, which does bring us to,
Yeah.
I guess, the next one I should mention is many people view Christmas as being a couple's holiday.
Yeah. So, just I will get to that in just a second, but I mean, maybe that also what we were just saying about which day it is. Maybe it also goes to the fact that since it's like if let's say Friday is Christmas Eve and then Saturday is Christmas Day. Maybe more people will celebrate it on a Saturday
Mm.
because it wasn't a holiday. But I think the 24th was a holiday for a while, right? It was the
23rd.
Showa. What, the 23rd? Oh, okay. There
Yeah.
you go. So it was the Showa Emperor's birthday, I think, or the Heisei
Yes.
Emperor's. Which it was
Heisei.
what Heisei. Okay,
It was
and
the
then that
current
changed.
emperor at the time, like 5 years ago.
Yeah, and then now that's not a holiday anymore. I
No, I,
assume.
I felt ripped off. I just assumed that like we kept getting new holidays, and someday in the far future we just have nothing but holidays.
Yeah, that's so true. So
I
do you?
think the new one is in September, and I feel no guilt if I'm not right about that, because from my experience,
Yeah,
no one in Japan knows his birthday either.
yeah. It's so funny. It's like, all right, this holiday just moved to a different day now.
Yeah, so the emperor's birthday is a holiday, but it just changes day depending on the emperor. You don't get bonus holidays.
So interesting. Here's a little bit about the history. Apparently, the Taisho Emperor, I think his death day and maybe his birthday. If I'm wrong there, I'm sorry. Please, historians, get me. Tell me I'm wrong. But I think his death day was on the 25th, and then that ended up being a holiday, and then so that kind of contributed to the 25th, Christmas being more of a festive day because it was a holiday anyway.
And
So
we
that
have
was
so many holidays if we permitted it for birthdays and death days for all the emperors over 2,000 years.
yeah, seriously, for the past like 2,000 years.
Can
Yeah.
we have also just like retiring from emperordom? Because that
Yeah,
happened a
yeah.
lot back in the day.
Yeah. Well, you know what they'd end up doing is they go like, okay, well, we will allow you to retire, but we're going to have to kill you on the same day that the last guy retired so that everything is just the same day. And it's going to be your birthday too. So that because otherwise every day is going to be a holiday. Sorry, that was dark, but okay. So yeah, it's funny. Yeah, it just depends on the week and the day and the whether there's a holiday or not and all that. So maybe that does contribute a little bit to when some people might celebrate, whether it's the 24th or 25th. But going back to the thing about it's more of a romantic holiday. So yeah, historic, like early on to like maybe in like the Showa 70s, 80s, especially, I think it was even more so like that. And as time has gone by, there's a little bit more of the family aspect.
Yeah.
Like presents for the kids and got to get your bucket of chicken and all that,
Real quick since you mentioned
But
the presents, I think it follows a similar logic as like the Otoshidama on New Year's,
uh-huh.
which is except most families don't do it because I always ask my students if they get anything. It's probably like 20%. Usually they
Yeah.
get from surveys of my students over 10 years. Usually they get a single present. Some of them get a handful, and it's only like parent to child. Like
Right,
they're
right,
usually
right.
surprised when I tell them in America presents are like omnidirectional. Children give their parents presents, siblings give each other presents, and all that. Like that doesn't happen here. It's
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
parent to child, and then once you're an adult, you don't get anything.
Yeah. Yeah, 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 exactly. It's funny, right? It's more like it's a romantic holiday and it's more a holiday for the kids in that way, I guess.
It is
Uh,
weird that it seems to be both. I think the family side of it is picking up steam. I don't know
mm,
why, but most of the like
marketing.
marketing and stuff I see now seems to be aimed at the family aspect.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, the romantic side of things, it's a big deal, and like it's a there's a lot of special dinners at restaurants, and you get your reservation. It's almost like a Valentine's Day kind of thing. Of course, the love hotels will have special whatever deals and decorations and all that stuff. And there's the illumination. They call them illumination, but what would they
It's
call
just
like
Christmas
light
lights.
displays? Yeah, Christmas light. Yeah, displays, whatever. They're very popular, especially in the cities. Tokyo, Osaka. They have multiple of these elaborate like lights around like areas of like a specific area. Like I think Shibuya has like one area. I think maybe Roppongi has a different one. Osaka, I think it's what's it called? Naka. Ooh, I can't remember. It's on the Keihan line, but I'm sure I think there's
Nakatsu? I don't
another
know.
Naka something, but I'm sorry, I can't remember
Nakamozu?
what
I'm
it.
just trying to name stations out
No,
there.
I don't think it's Nakamozu.
There's a
Um,
Nakamozu, there's a Nakatsu, Nakagahara. I don't know.
Nah, I can't remember. But anyway, yeah, there's a couple in Osaka that are famous for, they're well known for doing their yearly displays, around Christmas time in the weeks leading up to it.
Nagahori
And they're,
Tsurumiri line.
yeah, I like that. I like that name because I remember that because
Crazy
it's so
long.
long. Nagahori Tsurumiri. Yeah. But I don't know. I don't think it was that line. It was a different line that branches off from the Keihan. But anyway, I've been
I
to
have
that
a
one.
if I can
Yeah.
interrupt since we're doing illumination.
Yeah.
So, one of the most disappointing dates of my life was my city has winter illumination. It's not affiliated with Christmas because they just do it basically throughout winter, but it starts Christmas time. And they have,
Non-denominational illumination.
well, I think they actually weren't trying to be Christmassy. Like,
No,
it's just supposed to
I
be
know, I
like,
know, I know.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so at the time, I was dating my now wife, and I felt like, oh, this will be like a nice romantic thing to do at night. So I
Yeah.
told her about it. She didn't live in the same city, so she like traveled here to see it with me, and it was the most pathetically disappointing thing I've ever seen. There was no lights on any buildings. They just had like a handful of projectors on like lampposts shining at the ground
Huh.
just to make the
Huh.
ground look colored. And I mean, I have seen things like that that look kind of elaborate or interesting. This was not that. This is like this sidewalk is green, that sidewalk is red. The
Okay.
end.
They
And
tried. They tried.
yeah, but it was like me and my girlfriend were there, and then like
Yeah.
a couple like toddlers, and that was it. And it's like, oh, I'm sorry I made you come here. Let's go get dinner.
Yeah. 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 Well, I mean, so that was Ishikawa, I take it. Huh?
Yeah,
Yeah. 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 I mean, obviously the pretty and the elaborate stuff, it's in the big cities.
we have that here
Um,
too in Kanazawa. I know they dress up Kendokuen, and I went to it once, but
oh, nice, nice. Yeah.
despite
I mean,
being nice lights, I don't recommend it because it was so incredibly crowded. You're like squished with
yeah,
people like shuffling through.
that's a good point. That's a good point. Like, I mean, this year is the first year that a lot of this like yearly displays are doing it for the first time in like 3 years, right? And
Hmm.
But I remember, like back before, the pandemic, like those things would get super crowded. It was, like a full train of people just, moving together, walking, and like a sea of people for the really popular ones. But it's very nice. It's very pretty. It's something to do. It's something to go out and see. And some of these displays are quite elaborate. Interestingly, like there's also a lot of in Kyoto, at least, there's a lot of displays that go up in November, but those are like the autumn leaves displays. So they'll light up the trees at night, but it's like to kind of go with the autumn trees. So you get illuminations displays, whatever, in November, then you might get them again in December. So yeah, that's a popular date kind of thing, right? You go out.
It could be a family thing too. Kids want to see it.
Yeah, it is definitely. But as I was saying, yeah, like a lot of these, especially like nicer restaurants will have special Christmas, like, what are they called? Not sets, like courses. Yeah. Like fancy kind of dinners, special Christmas items and all that, for the romantic dinner out. And as we were discussing earlier, it can be pretty flexible. Like it's like 24th or 25th. It's like, take your pick. Where
what are you talking about? The romantic dinner is you go to KFC, you get your chicken, you go home.
Yeah, that's a good first date right there.
Because I have done it. You have to reserve at least a month ahead of time. And at mine, you could choose any day, the 23rd, 24th, or 25th. I think the 23rd is just there in case you're like too late to get the good days.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I was looking at a menu for this year, and it was 3 days.
And I think last year when I went, the 23rd was more booked up, but it might have just been because it was on a weekend. I don't remember now. They were both pretty heavily booked up when I got it. And so you have to pick like a chicken. First, you have to order whatever chicken you want, and then you just get to choose between like 3 or 4 different sets because they don't let you have like the full menu. But you can have like multiple sets if you want. But the thing that's interesting is you have to pick a pickup time. Like, I think you get a 15-minute window that you have to show up and get your chicken.
Otherwise, they eat it.
Yeah. And they are closed those 3 days. You can't go in to just buy something. Yeah, you can't go in,
right? Yeah.
Which I think is dumb because, like, I didn't know about this the first time I tried to do it, so I just showed up at, like, 11 a.m., and they were literally empty. And I was like, can I just buy chicken? Like, no, reservation only. He's like, but you're empty. Like, just take my money, give me chicken.
Yeah. They're well, what, I've never worked there, or I don't know, but I was reading about that, and apparently they get ridiculously busy, so busy that they just stop attending like non-reservation stuff, and they even hire extra people to work during that time.
They do get very busy because the next time when I went back, it was very busy. But if you show up in the morning, they're not that busy.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty crazy to think. I don't know how it'll be this year, but like I looked at the Kentucky Fried Chicken website for Japan, and they had a full menu of all the typical items. So I mean, I take it they're going to do okay.
They also have special non-fried chicken on Christmas only, or I guess maybe some other times they too. It's just like, I don't know, baked or grilled. I don't know how they make it, but it's not like
are you talking about the premium roast?
Yeah, I guess that's what they call it. I had that once. Yep. The fried stuff's much better.
So I read a little bit about the premium roast item. That one is more. So what is a typical? So they call it the party barrel. I think that's okay.
I see the thing you're looking at now, the premium roast chicken. That's like a rotisserie chicken, right?
Yeah, I think so. Basically, yeah.
I guess the one I'm thinking of is the rosto regu, which is just the leg of that.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, they sell so many legs. I'm like honestly curious what they're doing with the rest of some of these chickens.
They've got multiple legs on these chickens.
Also, they're like freakishly uniform, as if they all came from one clone chicken.
Well, I've heard that conspiracy before.
Is that a real thing?
Well, I don't know if it's a real thing, but I used to joke about that with my friends.
Like, I mean, in America they look similar to me, but like in Japan they look identical, and it's just weird.
I don't know. They must have them growing in molds, I guess.
I honestly bet they're like cutting pieces off to make them look more similar at some step.
Wouldn't surprise me. So what's the party barrel cost? I think it costs like around 5,000 yen.
I
So
remember it starts at about 2,000 and goes up to like 5,000. Let me see if I can find the menu in
yeah.
real time.
So the classic party barrel was introduced, I think, in the 80s. And it's a 3-layer, basically, bucket. I think the top layer is chicken. The second layer, they call it sarada. I'm not sure if that's coleslaw or some other, kind of salad. And the bottom is the, what's it called? The Christmas cake, which we haven't talked about, and
Oh
maybe
yeah,
ice cream.
the most important thing.
Yeah, definitely. So it's a 3-layer thing that you it's all in one bucket, all your wonderful holy Christmas meal, all in one bucket just for you.
I don't see the bucket on their menu right now.
Oh, okay. Maybe, I mean, it must be somewhere. That's like the classic one. But whatever the case, like you were saying, they have multiple variations of these sets. And yeah, like I saw one that was like 2,000 something yen, 2,800 or something like that, 4,000, whatever. There's bigger sets, there's smaller ones. The premium roast set, I think that one was like 6,000 something yen. And that one is, so apparently the premium roast, they have a very small quantity of this premium roast, and it's more expensive, and it's actually like something like, I guess handmade, because they stuff between the skin of the chicken and the chicken meat, they stuff it with like mushrooms and cheese. And so they have to do this by hand. And so this takes longer. And so their profit margins are much slimmer on these. And so this is kind of just like a premium item that they do just kind of for branding and marketing, but they don't really make much money off of it, according to the article that I was reading.
I mean, just looking at I see the one that's got that stuffed in there. Looking at the photo of the full chicken, it looks like very similar to the rotisserie chicken from Costco, but 10 times the price.
Yeah.
I do see your stuffed one you're mentioning. It looks like, okay, there's the premium roast chicken, and then there's the, whatever this one is. Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of their fancy schmancy, take. But again, they make very few, so apparently it sells out very quickly, and it's totally by reserve only. Interesting. Like I was looking at a lot of these menu items, and like it's not just the fried chicken. Like I saw like barbecue chicken. Some of these sets come with like chicken nuggets and chicken tenders, so you get both. It's like, I know they're different
because I think their normal menu doesn't have tenders. They have what they call karaneru crispy, which I like more than the tenders.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I've never ordered a chicken nugget in KFC in Japan, so I didn't know they had chicken nuggets.
I think it's also not on their normal menu. I think it's just like a Christmas thing.
Oh, Christmas is nuggets, baby. So yeah, it's a pretty lengthy menu. I mean, relatively speaking, and this is all only for Christmas. Like if you look it up, I think this episode will come out before Christmas, so you will be able to look up the Kentucky Fried Chicken page if you want to.
Your local Kentucky Fried Chicken in Japan is probably already booked up by now, though.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. And yeah, you can do an order, online, and then you can pick if you want to pick it up in person or if you want it delivered. I don't know if they charge you, if they remember the pizza, like they give you half off if you got to pick it up.
Oh, okay. Kind of unrelated to this, but just an obnoxious story. My city just recently started to integrate Uber Eats in.
Oh, okay.
Which is like, they don't deliver to you though. We were like so disappointed when we saw this.
What is that? What do you mean they don't deliver? What does that mean?
All it does is it lets you order online, and then you still have to go drive there and pick it up. And you have to pay extra for having ordered online.
What the hell?
I know. It's so horrible.
I mean, worst case, you just call the phone, right? Like,
it's just like a handful of them do deliver, and an even smaller handful of them don't triple the price. I'll try to not exaggerate. I think some of them may have literally doubled the price if you get delivery, depending on the item.
Wow. Well,
it's
maybe
not the Uber Eats episode,
it's
but some of them seem to charge a fee. Some of them just seem to give you a special Uber Eats menu with increased prices.
Wow. Okay.
And then free delivery. It's kind of like a pizza delivery thing.
Yeah. Free delivery. Yeah, but
it really is.
Yeah. I can only assume that this is a long-term kind of thing, and they're just trying to get in with the businesses.
Yeah. I do not. To not misinform people, I don't think this is something normal across Japan. I know it's not, because I have a friend who lives in like a city that doesn't have this issue. It's because I live in like a podunk town that is trying to make Uber Eats work despite us not having that many people or customers.
Yeah,
And the
yeah, yeah.
way they've
That's
decided to implement it at first isn't very good.
yeah. But very, very interesting to know that they've branched out into, places outside of the cities. I didn't know that because I've seen news reports about people like working, for these like, Uber Eats or whatever and delivering, so I know that people were delivering these like on bikes or whatever, motorcycles, but yeah, I didn't know Uber Eats also did it that way where it's like, it's basically just
It's
hey, order
so
from us.
weird.
We'll charge you more.
So what started is our local Subway that just opened like 2 years ago actually had a sign up saying like now with Uber Eats. I'm like, cool. And then like 2 weeks later there was like a huge storm. We didn't want to go outside. And like, oh, we'll just try Uber eating Subway because they said they do it. And when we go online, they just don't do it at all. There's just like no delivery drivers. Sorry. But that's when we're like, okay,
Sorry.
let's try some other place. And that's how we found that most of them don't actually deliver.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, some of them did.
So there you go. But apparently KFC does deliver, but I don't know if that's for everywhere in the country. Probably
I'm pretty
not.
sure it's
Probably
not where I live.
Yeah, probably not. All I saw is that in the website it said delivery, but then I'm sure you have to put in your info and then it'll tell you, sorry, we
Yeah.
won't deliver to you.
Because McDonald's also has like Mac delivery, but if I put in my city, it's like, sorry, not offered in your area. Even though I have 2 McDonald's here.
Yeah. But yeah, so basically that's KFC. That's the typical. That's the number one place even today. But as Ryan alluded to earlier, there many other places have gotten in on the chicken game. Like I'm pretty sure Moss Burger and
Yeah, I think McDonald's oddly hasn't, but I feel the other ones do because Loteria did too. Because I went there once,
yeah,
and
yeah,
a
yeah,
lot
yeah,
of the cone beanies, especially like Family Mart, because they're famous for Famichiki,
yeah,
they try to have like some sort of special. I think it's just normal Famichiki, but they try to act like it's special.
yeah. I mean, if they already got the chicken, it's like why not try and do it? And they do a
Yeah,
lot of the reservation stuff as well. But
yeah, I don't think they sell out though.
yeah, I would figure that most of these places, they must do okay, but many places are probably just getting the kind of leftovers of KFC.
Yeah, whoever didn't get your reservation, they go to these other places.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
I
but
think
like
it's
KFC's got the red and the white, man. You can't compete with the red and the white.
well, you can make a red and green themed chain. That's more Christmassy.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I think isn't Mossburger green?
I think they're green and white.
Okay, it's something. It's close.
Then the other side.
Yeah.
McDonald's red and
Yeah.
yellow, so they're also halfway there.
Yeah. Everybody's got one of the colors at least.
So something
So
my
yeah,
students have mentioned that I've never heard other people say, like at least when I talk to them about food, some of them have pizza,
interesting.
which I think it's a distant second after KFC, but apparently that's also like a Christmassy food here for some people.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me too much because it's that kind of like home party kind of thing, right?
Mm.
And Christmas is seen as pizza is seen as something like that. The family gets together, eats something a little bit different, a little bit special, an overpriced delivery pizza, maybe. So
Now that I'm thinking, I honestly suspect it's like their dad didn't get the reservation in time. He's like, okay, kids, for
yeah,
Christmas, we're not having chicken, we're having pizza. As he quickly
yay,
dials, like, crap, can I get pizza tonight?
yeah. So that's the chicken frenzy that goes on. But as we mentioned a little while ago, you got to talk about the cake, right?
Yeah,
The
that is
cake.
the actual most important thing because
It kind
I
of is.
feel
Yeah.
like not everyone does the fried chicken. That's more if you want to like kind of buy into the like stereotypical image. But anyone who does anything Christmassy at all definitely has Christmas cake.
Yeah.
Like
And
it's the one necessary thing. I think even more than like getting a present, you need to have Christmas cake.
it kind of is. And like you can get cake you can get like a single slice at the convenience store. You can reserve a whole cake, big cake, small cake. Like there's, whatever cake fits your needs, it's available. It's a strawberry shortcake with white frosting, right?
It doesn't
That's
seem
pretty
that
much
set
what it
in
is.
stone. I think that's like the stereotypical one is just like some kind of white cake with like fruit.
Yeah.
But I've gone to like bakeries around then, and they have a whole bunch of just things they're calling Christmas cake that aren't that because
Yeah.
I think people just get what they like.
There's what do they call that? A bush noel. I think that's another kind of cake. Uh, but yeah, like the stereotypical one, yeah, it's the white frosting with like actual strawberries on it. I was watching a news story this week from Japan that was talking about how this year strawberries have gone up, and eggs, of course, a lot of stuff has gone up in price so much where the profitability on these cakes is just not that much. They've had to raise prices, but even then it's just the profit margins are not good. So a lot of these cake places are not making too much money, but they're doing it because it's a tradition. So this cake thing is, yeah, there's no Christmas cake that, like, I yeah, I went to Japan and heard about Christmas cakes for the first time. So
Yeah, this is the one that I think, like, they're not Japanese people when you tell them that you don't have KFC. They're just like, oh, yeah, that's fine. Do you have? They assume you have turkey like Thanksgiving again, which some people do. But from
Yeah.
my experience, when you tell them there's no Christmas cake, that like actually surprises them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's, yeah, I don't know. It's just the thing you do. So according to one Japanese article I read, so this originates, probably it's said that it originated from a Japanese confectionery called Fujiya, which apparently is quite well known.
Hmm.
And it was in the 50s. Let me see. Yeah, it seems like it was in the 50s maybe when it started, according to this one thing that I read. But sorry if that's wrong, but yeah, I think it was the 50s. But it wasn't all this Christmas stuff. It seems like it didn't really take off until we got into like the the good economy, like bubble economy, almost like starting in the 70s into the 80s, because it's like flaunting your money and spending money and this and that and going out on the Christmas date and the lights and the you got to get the cake and the presents and all this stuff, and that just became one more thing to do during these good economic times. And then also, like, I think it was also during this time when KFC really started expanding as well. So the expansion of KFC really helped push this forward. So we can discuss briefly the history here, since this is tied into what I'm talking about. But
If I can real
apparently,
quickly chime in, just a little trivia.
yeah.
No one in
Yeah.
Japan says KFC though.
Oh, Kentucky.
Yeah, all of them. Even now the stores themselves say KFC, it's still Kentucky.
Yeah. That's
Kind of like
true,
how
that's
Baskin
true.
Robbins do say Baskin Robbins, but everyone calls them Satiwan.
Yeah, that's yeah. When I learned that, like, I don't know, like 20 years ago or something, that was so funny to me. It's like 31. Oh, yeah, 31.
Yeah, like the subtitle somehow overtook the actual name in Japan because it's Baskin Robbins
Yeah,
31 flavors or whatever.
yeah.
We have one locally. It still says Baskin Robbins like big and bold with a small katakana under it. But even if you like write it down, like my students don't recognize what that word is.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, most people, if you say Baskin Robbins, a lot of people aren't going to get it. It's like, no, that's the name. That's the actual name. So the KFC thing, like I was saying, KFC led to a lot of this spreading of these customs, especially the fried chicken, but even the cake thing, because so KFC apparently launched their fried chicken campaign in 1974, according to this Japanese article that I was reading. And so, they started offering the party barrel and all that I was talking about. And the party barrel came with the Christmas cake and all that at the bottom. So I'm not 100% sure if the barrel started in 74 too, but in 74, they started advertising their, Christmas, eat fried chicken for Christmas. And according to this Japanese article that I was reading, this goes back to 1971 or 72, where there was apparently a foreigner that went to the Aoyama branch of a KFC and was saying to, I guess, the employee or the manager, like, oh, we can't get turkey in Japan, so we're going to have a Christmas party, so we're going to have fried chicken. And apparently that, I guess, inspired the manager or whatever to start pushing that, and eventually the company in general, I guess, adopted that by 1974. So it took off and it went well. And as I was saying, the economic kind of boom that was going on in the 70s into the 80s, and then the expansion of KFC, all kind of came together to push this to become just the standard thing, and like I said, the cake also was part of this whole KFC thing too. So I'm sure KFC helped spread the whole custom of the cake as well.
I can't believe this works. Like, a company can just be like, hey, you, do this thing on a day, and everyone's like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, good marketing, good timing, and yeah,
I guess it helps
I
that
don't
everyone
know.
likes fried chicken. It's not that hard to get them to try it.
That's so true. That's so true. Yeah, it's like, oh well, an excuse to eat fried chicken, sure. An excuse to eat cake, sure. An excuse to like try to get a date, sure. It's just a fun party basically. So yeah, that's the Christmas cake and the chicken. I don't know if there's anything else custom wise. Can't think of anything, but I can briefly discuss the history here. So Christmas, the first Christmas in Japan, in a way, you could say dates back to, let me see, when was it? 1552. And that is when missionaries passed out fried chicken to Japanese people. No.
There may have been fried chicken somehow there. I mean,
Maybe. I mean,
cooking chicken and oil has been around.
Yeah, chicken and oil. I mean, isn't tempura supposed to come from the Portuguese, right? So maybe those
Was the Portuguese doing it?
Maybe they were frying up some chicken, maybe.
Frying up some chicken, passing out cake.
Yeah.
Someday there will be a Kentucky, and on that day, get their chicken instead.
I don't know what a Kentucky is, but we're going to call it Kentucky, and we're going to write it KFC. But no. So in 1552, apparently there was a Christmas mass in Yamaguchi, held by the missionaries at the time. So that's what came up for kind of the first Christmas in Japan. But this was purely a religious thing. It was not like what we're talking about today, the current incarnation of Christmas. But then, of course, eventually the missionaries were driven out. Christianity went totally underground. And during the Edo period, it wasn't really, a thing. But then as we get into the Meiji period, and in the Meiji period, so we're talking like post 1868, Japan opened up to the West, and started, looking at the stuff that they wanted to kind of copy and improve and adapt. And they started, kind of celebrating Christmas in that sort of like loose sort of way, not in a religious way, but in something kind of like, what we see today, in a kind of a festive way. So that was like 1900s. And then that goes into like what I mentioned earlier about the Taisho emperors. I think it was his death day happened to be on the 25th, and that kind of helped contribute to that for a while. But then we get into World War II. So that was a time when everything foreign was not good. And in that movie,
everything foreign, that's when they got rid of kanji and all Japanese food. That's actually
exactly. That's what they got rid of. All the kanji, all that Chinese, which we have talked about before, probably a while ago. But yeah, we've talked about that. But you remember in that, I actually haven't released this episode yet, but we have an upcoming episode of In This Corner of the World, that movie, Kono Sekai no Katasumi ni. I think that's going to be the next episode. No, wait, did I? No, I did release that one. Yeah. Sorry. That one's out already. Yeah, so you can listen to it. I'm thinking a different.
You could
episode.
Unrelease it before this episode, just so you can say that.
Oh, okay. I will unrelease it and then release it for the first time, the second time.
It will be the second launching of the episode.
No, but that episode is out if you want to go listen to that, the movie In This Corner of the World. And in that movie, that starts, I think, right before World War II. And in the beginning of the movie, there's like a Santa, wasn't there? There's like
I think there is. You're right. Because she's going at Christmas and there's like a department store. Yeah.
Yeah. So even like early Showa, like before the war, like Christmas was still kind of a thing. Yeah, and then but then of course the war came around and Western stuff no good. And then let me see. Okay, so and then in 1900, let's see, a shop originated in Yokohama, opened a place in Ginza, okay, in Tokyo, and they sold like Christmas items and stuff like that. So yeah, even back then, even in 1900, like I said, there was those kind of Christmassy things going around. But then, yeah, like I said, we get into like the 70s and 80s, and things really start to kick into high gear, and we start to get more of the Christmas that still kind of lingers today. Like we said, it's starting to be a little bit more for the family, I would say, not so much just the romantic kind of thing. But I mean, you get both sides, right?
Yeah.
It's still like a nice date day, but also, something for the kids.
But businesses are happy to sell toys to kids.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, toys and cakes, and anything else. Yeah, but because it's not a religious thing, it's not really like the day where extended family would come over. That ends up being New Year's, right?
Well,
So
to be fair, Japanese Christians do exist, and it is for them.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and they would celebrate it a little bit differently, I would say, but
Yeah.
they'd probably maybe go to mass or something. That does happen. But for the average person, it's more of the like fun Japan kind of interpretation. But the big day for kind of celebrating and going to like your parents' home or something like that would be the New Year's celebration, which is like the week after, basically. And that's like the big time off, and people might travel and take several days off, and have some special meals for the New Year's, for the what's it called, the osechi, the New Year's dishes and all that. That's a whole other topic, but basically, like, in a way you could say Japan Christmas is a little bit more like our New Year's, and their New Year's is a little bit more like our Christmas. Not exactly the same, but there's a little bit of that, I would say.
My family for New Year's does literally nothing.
Well, I mean, I would say that for many people in the US, at least, New Year's is seen more of a party and have fun day.
Okay.
Right. And so in that sense, right? I mean, it's not celebrated the same way, but
yeah, New Year's Day here is definitely the visit your family, eat together,
and do nothing, watch TV.
Yeah.
Give kids money. Yeah. You go. And then you get the fukubukuro, they call them the lucky bags, the kind of the grab bags where you don't know what you're going to get in the bag, and sometimes you might get something good. Sometimes it's like, oh, I got a bunch of stuff, but I don't really need any of it. But yeah, that's New Year's. That's a bit of a different topic, but right around the same time. So that's basically it for Christmas. I don't know if there's anything else. Have you seen any Santas?
I was going to say about Santa, something that I think is fun about Japan is, in Japan, Santa is from Finland, and he comes to Japan on an airplane.
Oh, okay.
Oh, also, Mrs. Claus does not exist.
Well, so, that's true. You see a lot of sexy Japanese girls dressed up in Santa's costumes. It
seems popular. Like, I don't think I see that other places, but yeah. I don't think they're Mrs. Santa, though. I think they're just like Santa's helper girls.
Santa's sexy
in Japan,
Japanese.
He has sexy elves.
Yeah, he has sexy Japanese girls. Yeah, so that's another Japan original. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's I think in northern Finland there's a Santa town, I think.
I've never seen it, but I heard on the news they have like some show always, like every year, show Santa like arrive at Narita.
Oh, Oh, well, it doesn't surprise me. So, but yeah, you do see sometimes like guys dressed up like Santa. I don't know if it's a mall or whatever, but
my students had an assignment to write about a foreign festival. And one kid, or one high school, I guess you'd say, to make it not sound too young, picked Finland Christmas. And I suspect because he thinks Christmas originates in Finland because Santa is from Finland.
Oh, okay.
Because it just seemed like a really random choice to be like, I'm going to explain Finnish Christmas to everyone. So that's kind of my suspicion.
Well, so I did go to Finland somewhat recently, and
Oh,
I met one of the listeners. So maybe he's listening, Pekka. Hey, like I was talking to him about Finland and Japan, and he's very interested in Japan as well. He listens to this show, so you got to be kind of interested in Japan to listen to the show. But he was talking about how like there's a lot of Japanese people that would visit, and it was very very easy to get to until this whole Russia thing happened, where the air routes had to change and all that. It was very very easy to get to Finland, so a lot of Japanese people would visit Finland. So I think like for us in the US, it's like Finland is kind of like far off, but for Japan it was actually not that difficult to get to. So maybe that's also, there's the Moomin thing, right? Moomin, right? He's a character
that's really big
popular
here and kind of unknown in America.
Like I didn't know about Moomin until I went to Japan, and then I go like, what is this? Oh, it's from Finland. And then I went to the Moomin Museum in Finland. But it's just really interesting how these things that are not really that well known or not popular in the US can really take off in Japan. And maybe that's part of what this Finland and strong link to Christmas is for many in
like
in
Hawaiian
Japan.
pancakes.
Yeah, like Hawaii and pancakes, which we have also talked about in a very, very long time ago. It's like why Hawaii pancakes? Why? But I don't know. It's just these things happen.
I do ask you something though.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, like personal stuff, because I know your partner is Japanese and you are American.
Yeah.
So what do you guys do on Christmas? Do you do Japanese style, American, a mix?
Most times we really don't do much of anything, but
no KFC,
once
no
or
cake?
twice. So hang on. So once or twice we like, you want to just get chicken? It's like, okay, let's get chicken. We got chicken. We went to Kentucky Fried Chicken. We got chicken. So, just for the hell of it, like not because she wanted to. And really, honestly, like I think I eat Kentucky Fried Chicken like once a year at best. And it's not necessarily on Christmas.
I'm about the same.
But just for the hell of it, it's like, all right, whatever. Let's just get chicken. What else are we gonna do?
I ask because I don't know how behind in uploading episodes we are, because this might come out before. In case I didn't mention before, I'm a newlywed now who got married in August.
Yeah. I don't think you've mentioned that on the show before.
Oh, I not mentioned it at all. I thought I did in a previous episode. But yeah, my girlfriend I mentioned before is now my wife, and we're actually in 2 days leaving to go to America. Because Corona's restrictions are finally down, so it's the first time I'm going to see my family again. And my wife is coming to meet my family for the first time, and also to experience an American Christmas. And we've talked about, like, in the future, like, if we have a family, like, what do you want to do? And even though she still, right as of now, has not had an American Christmas, she said no matter where we live, definitely she wants to do an American-style one because it looks more fun. But we have to have it plus cake.
Yeah. Look, I like the cake. I do like the cake.
Like, I'm not complaining to having cake, but like that's how strong like the association with cake is in Japan.
Yeah. I get it. Like, hey, I've had the cake multiple times and I'm not opposed to it. It's just a funny thing. Like, this ain't Christmas, but I'll eat it. Yeah. This is a very rare episode because we are recording this on December 12th Japan time, so I'm gonna release this in probably like a week or so. Usually these episodes take like 3 or 4 months to come out, but this is gonna be like 1 week after we record it. So
yep, December 12th 2021.
No, 2022. It took a year. It was like Ryan made me wait a whole year to record to release the.
We recorded on 12/12. We just took a year.
Yeah, exactly.
By the time editing was done, it wasn't seasonal anymore. Or we can really screw with him, like 2024. That's when we recorded this.
Yeah. But that's basically Christmas. I mean, it's like, hey, if you want to have chicken, have your chicken. Nothing wrong with having chicken. If you want to, it is more difficult to get turkey. I will say that.
Is turkey what you eat? Because I never knew anyone who ate turkey.
I think so. I would most of my Christmas. So when I would celebrate with my family, my mom, or my family in Peru, it really is mainly like pork, like lechon or like ham kind of thing. It's pig. It's not usually turkey.
So this is something that I've been experiencing recently. So I don't know if it's only America because it's a very big country, or if like all people who leave their home country experiences where like you think something is normal, but then when you talk to other people from your country, from other areas of your country, you find out they do different things. It's
Yeah.
a weird way to set this up, but basically, according to Japanese textbooks, Americans love to have turkey. And where I
Yeah.
lived, I never heard of having turkey for Christmas in my life. It was always ham or something pork based. So I thought
Yeah.
that was strange. So I started like asking all the other teachers in the area, and overwhelmingly they were also on the ham or pork thing, but like a handful said like, "Oh, we did turkey sometimes."
Yeah.
So I don't know if like information about America is just wrong, or I just have an extremely like skewed group of friends. When I heard that,
It
I
could,
also thought, okay, maybe it's a European thing, but I have British friends here too, and they were also not on the turkey train, so I don't know.
yeah, it could also be a little bit of outdated information,
I guess
perhaps.
that's
I
possible.
maybe, yeah, maybe back in like the 60s or 70s, maybe it was more common, but uh, yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people, they go with the roast ham or,
To me, like
like I said,
Thanksgiving was turkey, and then Christmas was ham because you didn't want to have the same
yeah,
thing.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's I think how most people that I've come across seem to look at it. Uh, I mean, maybe if you have a really, really big thing, you might have both. I think I've heard of, but that's like if you have like a huge ass family or something like that.
I did have people that said they did change it up, and so it's like some years it would be turkey, and some years it would be ham. But
Yeah,
anecdotally, in my own experience, I don't think I've met an American who said they exclusively only had turkey every year.
yeah. No, at least in my experience, that's quite rare. Um, yeah, and in Japan, no turkey, no ham,
Turkey
nothing,
is
none of
hard to
that.
find just in general in Japan.
Yeah, yeah. It is. I mean, I don't know if there's even wild. I don't think there's wild turkeys in Japan, as far as I know. I think that's a North American thing.
The only place I knew
So,
that had it was Japanese Subway, the restaurant, but they actually removed
yeah.
it from their menu last year. So,
Oh,
like,
okay.
I legitimately don't know where to get turkey at all now.
Well, here's a little fun trivia for the listeners. The Japanese word for turkey is shimencho, and that is literally seven faces bird.
Which sounds
Um,
like some kind of monster from mythology, right?
it really does. Yeah, it's like a what's that called? Like a chimera or what's
The
that?
cherubim or
Cerberus.
whatever. Like, yeah, like
Yeah,
you're gonna
yeah,
read
yeah,
some
yeah.
legend, like it's the gatekeeper to the underworld. It's the bird with seven faces, and at dawn, it, blah blah blah. It makes this horrible war cry.
Seven faces going. I honestly, you know what? I've looked that up, and I don't remember if I got a good answer about why it's called the seven faces
I
bird. But
think
maybe
it's. I don't remember the name of it, but the weird little like diddly do under its beak, I think is supposed to look like a bunch
uh,
of faces.
maybe that's another episode. Like,
And
why is the turkey a seven faces
I'm
in
sure someone
Japan?
will correct me saying like that's not called a diddly do, but it is indeed called a diddly
No,
do.
I think that's the Latin name. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's the official name. Your textbook was just
yeah,
wrong.
yeah. Diddly do. Yeah. So anyway, so that's basically Christmas in Japan. It's a fun holiday. I mean,
Yeah,
and if you do want to be, like the more religious side, I'm sure you can find, masses and all that. If you want to go out on a date, well, you got to find somebody to go out on a date with, but that's on you. If you want to have some cake, you can have some cake. If you want some chicken, you can have some chicken. It's up to you. Whatever you want to do. If you're in Japan, it's a pretty fun time of the year. I
you
would say.
don't even like need a date. Like I've had just like friends come over and we have like just
Oh,
group chicken stuff.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's
yeah.
fine. Yeah,
That's good. That's a good point. Yeah, a lot of times it's almost like
it's
a
just like a party
Valentine's Day
day.
kind of thing. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah, like the people that don't have dates, they might have like just a Christmas party together as the people that don't have dates that day. That definitely happens. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, what and you know what Japanese people eat on Japanese Hanukkah? Because I bet it's fried chicken. The Hanukkah chicken. No,
that's why it's the
as far
Chichimencho.
as
Wait,
like,
no, Hanukkah's longer, 12 days, right? Darn. That was
yeah,
7 days. What
seven,
holiday
seven
is
is it
7 days? That's what you have to eat turkey.
yeah. That's anyway. It's fried turkey. That's what it is in Japanese
Fried
Hanukkah.
turkey.
It's a turducken. Anyway, so yeah, as far as I know, there's no Japanese Hanukkah, but I'm sure there are at least 2 Jewish people in Japan. I don't know how they celebrate. So there's probably at least 2.
I believe there's more than 2.
Well, I said at least 2. At least 2.
I guess that is objectively true then. There is at least 2.
Yes, I am not incorrect. Probably. At least
I had
2.
a friend that I taught, was one of my students at Eikaiwa, who was like into Judaism. So he like went to hang out at like some local, this is when I was in Osaka, synagogue that was in Japan. So those communities do exist.
Yeah.
As I said, Japanese Christians also exist.
Yeah. I've gone to like Christian gatherings as part of like a class. Like I was doing research and stuff, and they're around. Nice people. No, nothing, But
I think they don't just stand out much, but I think they're not quite as rare as people think. I think a lot of them just don't advertise it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I would say they're generally more quiet about it because it's like I don't know. That's just maybe the more Japanese side of things. It's like you're not just going to bring it up for no reason.
Yeah.
It's like, but yeah. Anyway, that's Christmas in Japan for the most part. If you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. If you don't, Happy Holidays, Happy Winter Break,
Ichimon Japan.
Happy New Year. Happy Seven Faces Bird Day, Happy Japanese New Year's, and we will
Japanese New Year's, which is also just New Year's.
Yeah.
Don't change the date.
It's just involves a lot of variety shows and special food. That's all.
Yeah.
But
I just meant like, because if you say Chinese New Year, it's actually like a different day, but Japanese New Year.
That's true. Yeah.
It's just January 1st.
It used to be, I think, the Chinese calendar, right? But then they switched over to the Western calendar.
I don't know if it was based on that, if they had their own, but I know that's why like Setsubun's at a weird time of year.
Yeah. It is. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Setsubun is real quick. It's supposed to be the beginning of spring, but it was like locked in place when they switched calendars. So it's the beginning of February, which is like the coldest, like middle of winter time in Japan.
Yeah. So basically, like when they switched over to the Western calendar, all the days moved over by like 1 month, but so that's why like Setsubun should actually be around the time of like March something, which is actually closer to real spring. But it's on like March 3rd, I think.
I think February 4th, isn't it?
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah. So it should be in March according to the old calendar, if you know what I mean. But now it's in February.
February 3rd.
Yeah, February 3rd. Yeah.
Oh, though this also says any day between 2nd and 4th.
Okay, maybe it's like Christmas and Christmas Eve. It's like when's the weekend?
Some of these holidays do vary a little bit, depending on like
it's
your
a regional thing.
Yeah,
too. Yeah, it's very much a regional thing. Yeah, like Western Japan, Eastern Japan, Kyushu, blah blah blah. Yeah,
like when people say like, when is Obo? I'm like, sometime in August.
Yeah. So check your region and you'll find out. But yeah, Christmas is either 24th or 25th in a way in Japan.
I guess Japan just likes
according to KFC,
holidays.
Yeah, according to KFC, it's the 3 day, 23, 24, 25. Yeah. So
only KFC considers the 23rd though.
Yeah. All right, that's it, guys. We'll be back in 2023 with an episode we recorded probably like 5 months ago. But hey, it's a new episode to you guys.
I'm gonna always save the date in these episodes from now on, just so you can't get away with that.
Yeah. So it's like, honestly, most of these episodes, by the time they come out, Ryan probably forgets that we recorded them.
Whenever you say like, "Oh, I just released this one," in my head, I'm like, I wonder which one it is. Do I remember the topic?
Yeah.
Okay, the movie you brought up earlier, I couldn't even remember the name. I think I watched that 7 months ago.
Yeah, it was quite a while ago. Yeah, it was. By the way, the next episode that I'm planning to come out is the Weathering with You episode.
Oh, cool, because I guess I'll say it now just to put pressure on you. I just saw the new one, the Suzume no Tojimari.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So you guys, listeners, can hear that sometime in 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. So
releasing movies late is Japanese culture.
Yeah. So there you go. That you got a sneak peek. All right. Anyway, we're basically at an hour.
See you guys.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Bye.
Bye.